So this is a Plone Podcast episode, I don't know, 347. I'm just counting approximately. I'm kidding. So how are you? It's been a while.
Yeah, you missed Sorrento last year.
Thanks for reminding me. We've
been there a bunch of people, you know.
Yeah, how many times have you been?
In Sorrento? At Sorrento?
Yeah.
I think 3 times for sure, maybe 4, but 3 times for sure.
You still enjoy it, I hope?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Now with this COVID isolation, basically it was the first trip outside Romania in the past 2 years. Wow. Going to Sorrento. So imagine, huh? It was a joy.
Yeah. Oh, I see you're wearing, is it your Boston Plone Conference shirt? Thank you. Yeah, very nice. Actually, thinking back to, was the first time you were in Sorrento in 2015?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
I was thinking about that because that was probably that was right before you were organizing the Bucharest conference. And I remember you brought 7, 8 people at least. And you were doing that to scout out what it was like to run an event for Plone. And then you were going to apply those lessons to the Bucharest conference, which you ended up organizing for 2015. So thank you very much.
Oh, it was quite an experience.
Yeah.
Sorrento that year was a preparation for the conference. Yeah, and get ideas, as you said, and learn more on how to do it properly.
You did it very well. So I'm curious about that because that was definitely something I was going to ask you about, the whole, I guess, the club of former conference organizers and what that experience brought to you. And so when you were planning the conference, when you were in Sorrento, is there anything that stood out for you, that a particular lesson that you wanted to make sure you followed or didn't follow?
Well, as a whole, the conference for me was a kind of a mix of very interesting thing to do, very funny thing to do. I enjoyed it a lot. I had my time on that, and very intensive. Like, I was so tired after that. I was dead tired. Yeah, but so I enjoyed it a lot. It's an experience you never forget.
At 6 Feet Up, one of my colleagues, Glenn Franksman, he has an expression for the question, was it fun? And he categorizes fun as type 1 fun, which is it's fun at the time and it's fun looking back. Type 2 fun is it was not fun at the time, but it's only fun looking back on it.
No, it's type 1. I enjoyed it all the time.
Okay, that's great.
Before, during, and after the conference, it was all enjoyable for me.
One of the things I remember at the conference, which was in the lovely Intercontinental Hotel in downtown Bucharest, and it was a fantastic venue. I mean, beautiful. I'm still remembering the ballroom and even the little room off to the side, the little room off to the side where we had meals. And I remember asking you then, because I was interested in organizing the conference for the following year. And I remember asking you how you kept organized and how you remembered all the things that you had to do. And do you remember you showed me, it was on your phone, you pulled out your phone.
A long list.
It's this incredible list of things to do. My gosh.
Yeah, it was quite a long list. But eventually everything was almost perfect, let's say, as I planned to be so.
It was.
Yeah, and also the venue, I try hard to be very, very nice because of the Plone 5 release, you know. So it was like a big event also for the community. So I made sparings for the venue, for the food, and so on.
it really was fantastic. If I'm trying to think back to any conference that honestly comes close in terms of venue, and I can't think of one. But
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't say that.
Also the trainings, I think it was the first conference without any fee on joining the trainings. This was also part of the event to bring more people there.
That's right. Your conference was the first one where the training classes, which traditionally would charge each attendee a separate fee, and it was included. And I think that was a brilliant move, because that meant that there was less objection really to taking the training, which meant that the training would become more widely adopted.
Exactly.
And that helps everyone. Yeah, those were, yeah.
In fact, a lot of people joined the trainings that time. It was a financial effort, because basically those money you get from the fee on the trainings was a plus to the budget of the conference. But still, we managed it without, we were like even at the end, let's say. We didn't lose money, but yeah, it was fine. It was
yeah,
good.
I'd have to say that would be one of the notable game changers for changes in how the conferences get organized and what gets included. And now that's become tradition.
Yeah, I know. Tradition. And also, one thing I also wanted to promote at the conference, except this free of charge trainings, it was a thing that bothered us at the past conferences. Like when the day ended at the conference, you start to look, where are the guys meeting? Where are they drinking a beer? Where they are? Oh, look at Twitter, look and make a phone call, maybe on something. You know where everybody is. It was always a fight to find a place where people are really. And I don't know if you remember, I really promoted after each day of talks, guys, wait 1 more minute. The place is there for us. Everybody should join if you want to get out for a beer and eat something and so on. And you remember, we always had that bar open for us. And
yeah, it was quite a sizable. Was it a bar? It seemed to me like it was quite a big restaurant, and it was nice to be able to.
Restaurant.
Yeah, it was a really nice place, and it was good to have one place designated that could fit everybody. That was the other thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, because in other years, a group would split off and wander around and go, oh my gosh, this place is full. Keep walking.
The spirit of the conference is to put people together, get used to each other and talk and so on, right? Networking.
So there you go. I mean, that's the kind of organizational ability that you had, that you thought of these things, and yeah, it was a wonderful conference. I mean, the whole thing from start to finish. Yeah, I guess I should thank you again for doing that. No worries. So when's the next one?
We'll see. And one last thing, which was quite distinct at the Bucharest conference, was I think the first conference in many years without a glass in the goodies bag.
Yes. Right.
And after us, I think in Boston, I think there was no glass in Boston also, right?
No, we did.
I think we did. You put a glass.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. The pint glasses. That's right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Where did that start? Do you know? Because Bristol had one.
First conference I joined was in Naples in 2000. I don't remember exactly.
2007. Yeah.
2007. Yeah. So I think there was a glass there, a glass in Washington, a glass in Budapest,
San Francisco. I still have
Bristol, San Francisco. Yeah. I don't know Brazil because it was the only one I didn't attend it, Brazil, but I'm pretty sure it was a glass. I don't know. We'll
have to ask Erico. I wasn't there either. I feel bad about that.
Yeah, since Naples, it was the only conference I missed in Brazil. It was too much. I think it was, if I would have ended up there, I would have taken 1 month of holiday to travel around, and it was a very intensive period at the office, and I couldn't make it. I said, better stay home, not to be tempted to disappear in Brazil.
That's right. That conference was was different because the conference was in Brasilia, but then the sprint was over at the beach at one of the beach cities, and that was very tempting.
Yeah.
So you started by going to your first conference was Naples, and
Naples, yeah.
I was just looking at your Plone Foundation membership, which of course you're a foundation member, and you started doing Plone in 2006.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in Plone? Like, how did you encounter Plone, and what got you going?
I was already a Zope developer for 3 or 4 years. So yeah, being a Zope developer, we wrote our own CMS based on Zope. I also worked with CPS, Silva, all the other Zope. So boarding on Plone was like natural step. And yeah,
so then,
easy, let's say.
So then looking back, how did you encounter Zope? I mean, because I'll let you, I'm interested.
Well, I think right after I finished university, I started working with Delphi and Visual Basic, which was quite popular at that time, I think, for like 3 years. And then I quit that job I had there because one of my friends from university asked me to join his team where they are doing something science fiction. What are you doing there? And he invited me. They were like doing Zope. They had a small Zope team, and they are like trying to get more people into that team. And yeah, I paid him a visit at the office. He showed me, oh, this is Zope, you can. And I was also interested to change from Delphi and Visual Studio to internet development. Well, web development, it was the scene, the shiny scene that time to do web development. So wow, this is cool, perfect. This is what I want to do. So also the database was so exotic. Everybody worked with relational database and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, this is all through the web, Zeta classes and so on. It was okay, interesting. So I started learning Zope.
Were you working for anybody at that time? And did you? Because that's the other thing I'm interested in. How did Eau de Web?
This is Zope team, let's say, was part of a big company, Italian company. It's like yeah. So we worked together as a Zope team for, I told you, 3 or 4 years. I don't remember. Yeah.
And at that point, you got interested in using Plone. And what was the start of Eau de Web?
Right after we closed the collaboration with this corporation. It was a corporation, in fact, not a big company. It was quite a corporation. And once they lost this client of theirs, which was like developing Zope, they basically wanted to disband the group. And okay, we quit. I didn't want to do anything else than Zope. So then I started to do some CPS, some Silva for a period, and then some old clients we had at the beginning when working for this corporation. They call us back, guys, we really want to, maybe you can restart working with us. I don't know where you are now working, and really miss you, and we want you to continue there. And they basically contacted all of us individually, and then we talked and said, okay, I think this is an opportunity to make a small company and ship it as a company. Like, yeah, we were like 6 members on that team, but only 4 wanted to come back and work for the original client. So yeah, we created Eau de Web, 4 of us. It was like a project manager, a sysadmin, and 2 developers. So basically, we could cover all the aspect of a project and so on.
Wow! And can I ask, are the other 3 members still working with you?
After years, they come back and work with us. Yeah, and one of them is still working right nowadays. One of them worked with us and then left for Australia. Basically, yeah. Choice. I don't know.
Wow. Well, another big adventure. Well, that's great. I was always curious because, I mean, you and Eau de Web how I was thinking about this the other day. You're kind of like submarines. You run silently, you run deep, you run, silently, quietly, but I mean, you do all these great things. And for years, everyone in the Plone community has been using your EEA add-ons, faceted navigation and all the search tools and data visualization. So like, it's always been.
So we are not silent, we are visible, us.
You're very busy. Well, now you're starting to get.
We are visible, not under the water.
That's
I
right.
mean, you know us, you use our work and so on, right?
That's right.
Maybe we do a different kind of marketing, let's say.
It's very
busy. We are very active at the conferences. So basically, this is the main marketing we do for us, presentations. I'm trying to bring as many people I can to the Plone events,
I definitely, I mean, we all appreciate it because we know how difficult it is to set aside the time. Not only are you not only are you building the software and making it available to everybody to use, but you're also building the documentation around it, giving training, preparing the training classes. I mean, that I know is a huge investment of time. So it's really appreciated over many, many years.
Yeah.
That's part of the spirit of open source that really has always attracted me to Plone. It's that giving, which it's wonderful.
Without asking in return, I've never asked nothing in return.
Yeah.
So also, I don't know, marketing is can be done in different ways. And also our company is based that way, that we really don't need the classic marketing, like promoting and publicity, and I don't know, that kind of normal, let's say, marketing. Yeah.
I know it's, I think the way that you're doing it is a kind of, it fits in a way better with the idea of meritocracy, I guess, where you do like, you show, you don't just say.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. True.
So is that something that you had started off trying to do? Because I guess the way you started as a company, you didn't need to do any marketing. You kind of had this big client.
Yes, but also we focused on this area of clients, all from public administration, and ideally framework contracts. So for that, you don't need really marketing. We don't really work with private companies, and that's why the classic marketing doesn't make too much sense for us,
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So public administration, if you have a good CV and you know what to do and so on, so in general they are open for anyone to apply.
I remember when we talked about that briefly in Bucharest, and I remember being amazed that you could get business to the point where you're always busy and like always growing, it seems, to just without even having to put out an ad anywhere or
zero money spent on classic marketing. I can tell
That's
you in
wonderful.
16 years almost.
I know it wouldn't fit the spirit of open source, but you should patent that idea. It's like a money-making machine. No, it's not money. It's not really
not
money.
Like that. But we grew. Yeah, we never all these years since we started the company we were always on a ascending trend. Like in people working with us, technologies which we are using, because at the beginning we are only Zob developers. Then we started to do Plone. Then we started to do Drupal. Then we started to do Django. So wow. A lot of things, yeah.
So the most recent, I guess, the last several years, when your team has been working to help Volto so much, I assume that all your projects are Volto. Are you planning to do any more work with the Classic?
We are forced to do work with the Classic because we are a lot of websites which are running on Classic. So for those, yeah, we will do Classic work. But for the new ones, we'll try to do only Volto if possible. Yeah, and also React is something new, and
that's right.
Some new technology that just jumped in, right? So we had to develop to create a team with React developers to start doing this much work on Volto. because the Plone developers, yeah, some learned React and jump on Volto, but others remain on just backend classic Plone and so on. So yeah.
Is that a choice that they made? Is there like, how would you say the sentiment is in Plone developers of wanting to stay on the back end, or like the classic and then the ones who
up to each developer? So because we have quite some projects running there, is no problem for them to choose whatever they want to do. There will be work for them to do it.
In
so
Plone,
no pressure.
In Plone, we talk about the learning curve being like, starts off into, oh yeah, I feel I can do this thing. And then, oh, I'm doing more. And then all of a sudden like, whoop, it's like, you want to do a little bit more customization. Suddenly you have to learn a whole bunch of new things, and a lot of it. But are you finding that for developers who made the switch from classic to Volto, that I guess steep part of the learning curve is any different?
I think it was easier for them because mostly were like the senior developers doing the switch to, which were already full stack developers for Plone, senior developers for many years. So learning React was, let's say, a bit easy. But the interesting stuff, the interesting idea is like for a few years, we start to work with only React developers. They learn Volto and they do Volto stuff without knowing Plone at all. And after, let's say, a year, they started to want to learn Plone just because to have the full overview and being full stack. So that was the first time I heard in many years somebody wanted to, well, I want to learn Plone, really, without pushing him, without pushing him. Or yeah, so it is nice. It's quite nice.
That's really good to hear. Have you found that it's relatively easier to find React developers than say Python developers or Plone or Zope? I think Plone and Zope developers.
You can't say Python developer, Plone developers.
Yeah.
Finding React developers versus Plone developers, yeah, it's way easier. Python versus React, I think is the same. But Plone, is more complex to have abilities with developing Plone, right?
Yeah. That's sort of been our experience too. I guess looking in the US, it's hard to find anybody who's got Plone experience who wants to switch jobs. They're fewer to find.
Yeah, that's why in the past years we started to be really not only Romanian company, but like a bit of international, because in Romania everything couldn't find anymore. So yeah, nowadays for quite a few years we work with India, with even from United States, Europe, all over Europe, and so on.
That's great.
We were forced to do that. So, but in the end, it's fine. It's
good. One of the things that we've found at 6 Feet Up is working with people around the world is challenging because of time zones. Already with Plone, we knew that it was a challenge just trying to set up meetings with people, but to have to work regularly with people around the world, is that something that how has that affected your company culture? Like, has it changed anything for you?
Not too much, because most of them are from Europe, but the time zone is like maximum 2 hours difference, so 1 hour, that's manageable. Working with US, especially the West Coast, it's very difficult. India, for example, is like only 3 hours difference, so it's manageable also, like during our working time. So yeah, in this way, working as a distributed team was fine. It was nothing special.
I'm curious to see if that balance of power, like power and development power has shifted to Europe, because it's so sensible for a global team to be managed by a European location, just because the time zones working out better for people who are in your area, because they can work with people in East Asia or India, as well as back to the US or Canada. But it's definitely a challenge when you've got developers working on the West Coast of the US and trying to work with somebody in Europe or even in India.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah, it is difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard people here having to get up for like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. meetings. It's like, oh no.
But we try to avoid that. We try to make this working relation to be smooth for both parties, let's say, not to have like 2 meetings at 2 a.m. in the night and so on.
Yeah, they wouldn't be very productive.
We never did that, and we will never do that. So, yeah, we do it in a way that is manageable for both parties, let's say.
So,
but
Alec,
it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy.
Are you working day to day still with any particular development teams, or how have you? Are you still working with code, or are you just managing?
Both. I'm doing both. So I'm basically running the EA contract, and I think there are like 20 people, 20 developers. So spread in several teams, spread in several projects, and so on and so forth. So I have my role as a developer. On some teams. I have also the full overview, and so on. So I pretty much do both.
Cool.
I have all the roles there, like project manager, DevOps, developer, contract manager. So I play all the roles.
But you're still smiling. You must be doing it well.
You have to do that if you want to move forward, right? Be optimistic, positive.
So what has, one of the things I'm always curious about is with the change with COVID, how did that affect you or your company? You were working from home or trying to work from home?
We were already used to work as a distributed teams, and also all our clients are outside Romania, so already used to work remotely. So it was basically no change for us. It was just for a year, let's say, most of the people, the first year of pandemic, work from home. But then since last year, they start to come back to the office. Not all of them, but yeah. Me, myself, I told you, I'm nowadays this year for the past few months, I'm daily at the office because I can't work anymore from home. My child is trying to kill me, and I can't do that anymore. It's too much. So I'm back to the office basically almost on daily basis.
So that's good. I mean, that's encouraging that things must be doing okay in Romania or in Bucharest in terms of COVID.
No, it's like the rest of, waves after waves after waves. I'm vaccinated. I never got COVID till now. I think I am, but who knows? Maybe I had it without knowing, without the symptoms.
Yeah.
But no, it is now. It's like an end of another wave, which was the Omicron wave with tens of thousands of, But yeah, we get used to this wave. So basically, I'm ignoring them now. I wear my mask. I won't go to the public anymore. Otherwise, yeah. I think the life is coming back to normal little by little. If you ask me.
Crossing my fingers. Yeah. The maps that I've been paying attention to in the US have been showing, because of Omicron, it was really bad, but things seem to be clearing up. So hopefully, that's my gosh. Yeah, let's hope that we can get past this eventually, finally.
Yeah.
I think you knew this, but the conference, the next conference, supposedly will be in person in Namur, and that's one of the things we got to get going on, which is getting the website going and getting the planning committee together. But one of the things that we found in the last couple of years, since we had to do the Plone conference online, is that we got so many more people coming to the event that in many cases people we'd never seen before, people from parts of the world where we generally were underrepresented in person. And it was a really nice eye-opening change to see this attendance from this larger attendance from these
true.
people. So one of the things I know that we've been talking about is whether once we get back to an in-person conference, can we do a hybrid event where we would include people who are joining remotely? And in the past, I was remembering this, in the past, we would live stream the entire Plone conference, like all the talks were live streamed in addition to, being in person. So we actually have experience doing that. It's just we stopped. I'm trying to remember now here. Yeah. I remember San Francisco. I remember we were live streaming.
Bristol also.
Bristol too. Right. Wow. Yeah. So we have the experience. So we should be able to do something.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah. I think a hybrid conference will be most benefit. Yeah. Also the cost of the ticket is quite affordable. You don't have to pay money for the planes, the hotels, so on and so forth. So it's more easy to join the conference that way. Let's say, even if you have the money but you don't have the time, you can join the conference virtually, working and just having it there, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily you don't have the funding for that.
But of course, it's not quite the same experience if you're not there in person. It's you do miss out quite a bit. But it's especially with Plone people. Maybe is it just Plone people? But I know people I work with over the years have laughed because I'm perfectly willing to sleep on a couch or on the floor just to be at the conference. And I don't really need a whole hotel room. People look at me and go, "Oh yeah, Kim, he's willing to sleep anywhere. It doesn't matter." But that's the spirit, I think, that makes it fun.
Definitely, yeah. Told you this, last year in Sorrento, I enjoyed so much meeting again with people, talking. It's priceless.
Yeah, you guys had a really good setup. I was jealous watching from here and looking at that setup next to the garden. Did you get to visit more? Have you seen enough around Sorrento and the region? Did you?
No, I stay only at the hotel and talking with the guys and drinking beer and networking and so on. I only made one passage away just to get some lunch in Sorrento, and that's it. Otherwise, I stick to the hotel. Really.
That's been my experience. It's hard to want to get away. You see these people once every year or maybe a couple of times a year at best, and it feels like a shame to just leave to visit.
Exactly.
But then
that's the event happening, right? To get in touch, to know each other, to make more relationship and so on, consolidate the existing ones. And
yeah. So what do you figure the next steps for Plone ought to be in terms of after version 6? What do you see as the next improvements in Plone? Any big picture ideas?
After Plone 6?
Yeah.
You ask? Yeah. Well, after Plone 6? I don't know. Hard to say. Maybe some layers of complexity will totally disappear. Some frameworks there, like, I don't know, Zope or who knows, like a backend to become more simpler.
You're in an interesting position because being at one of the few companies that's driving Volto development, you're in a position to be able to make Plone do what you want it to do. Because I mean, it's a duocracy. So if there's an issue that you see in Volto or in Plone, you've got the developers and the I guess the ability to say, let's make this change, let's make this addition.
And right now, I will focus on Plone 6 to make it happen. So for the next years, I think all the focus will be on Plone 6 to have it well released. I think it will be quite soon, but to consolidate after that.
That's right. That's I think that what I guess the prediction I have personally is that we're going to have it done. We're going to have a release, guessing July.
A stable release, not a beta release, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not a beta release, yeah, maybe. The final one, I think next year, if you ask me. But it's still usable. Yeah, beta for sure this year.
Oh, I'm already using it. And obviously there's going to be bugs that get fixed, but it's been wonderful to be able to pull up. Well, I don't know if you know this, but I've been playing around with the Plone in a box idea, and that's been a lot of fun because, man, it is easy to get a server going with that thing, and to have Volto. One of the projects that we're working on in the community is this revamp of Plone.org to use Volto, and one of the early sprints we did for that, we put together a Plone in a box, and we were editing content on it, and it was so nice, so fast. The response is just wonderfully quick, and it's just like clicking on like an app that's on your computer. You don't even know that you're talking to a server that's and somewhere else in the cloud, and then waiting for a response to come back. It's just so fast. That's one of the things that I really like about Volto, and I really hope that people who are listening are going to take that to heart, because it is like night and day, the response times, and it just feels like a whole different kind of beast.
Yeah, true.
So thank you
for using the Plone 6 also. So
yeah. And so I think it was in Bucharest. I was talking to you, and I discovered that you had a connection to Canada. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you still? Obviously with COVID, you can't travel. It's hard to travel. But do you still maintain that connection to Canada?
Yeah, of course. It's basically my uncle there, and a couple of cousins of mine, which I grew up with, so I know them extremely well, and I'm always in contact. Never been to Canada, but it's on my to-do list. I will make a visit there in Toronto. They are all in Toronto somehow, living in Toronto or nearby.
That's I think now.
So once to Toronto, I will pay a visit to all of them.
Well, you'll have to tell me when you go there, because I'll join you in Toronto and make an excuse to visit. The city has changed. I haven't been since 2018, and already, and I think before that it had been maybe 7 years before. But in that 7-year space, just so much construction in Toronto, all these new high-rise buildings up along the lakeshore. It was still familiar to me, but different. And it's interesting how much growth there has been in that city. There was, I'm thinking back to 1995, and I remember that year encountering a lot of Romanians who'd moved to Canada and thinking, like, this is amazing, because so many of them were from technical universities and were really good software developers. It just seemed like they were showing up everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so this is, I think, part of the tradition, I guess, of really strong software development from your country. So what is it about Romania that made, or unfortunately for Romania, exported so many good developers?
Well, a lot of IT experts left Romania because it was easier for them, let's say, to live a better life out there than in Romania. So, but nowadays, I think this trend is not that high. I think right after the revolution, when we changed the communism regime in 1989, I think it was for 10 years at least. It was maybe more, 15 years. It was a massive migration steps. But nowadays, I think this is just a normal. Everybody goes, take a job, and then return home. Like, yeah, not going to live there forever.
Well, that's good. I mean, are you seeing that the return back?
Yeah, I know a lot of people who did that.
And really, one of the things that you're doing with Eau de Web is you're proving that you don't have to leave, and that you can stay and still work on, well, like you said, servers are everywhere around the world, clients are everywhere around the world. It doesn't matter where you are.
Exactly.
I mean,
nowadays with the open borders, we are basically right, a citizen of the world, not just a citizen of Romania. So you can move freely, communicate freely, and so on and so forth.
I like that. I like that idea. I mean, that's one of the things that if I think about where I am in a little town, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, a teeny little town of 60,000 people, like I get to work with people all around the world doing really cool things.
Yep.
So tell me some more. I mean, Alec, if you don't mind, I'm curious. Tell me more about the way you've arranged your life, because like you've got this busy work life, you've got this very large team of people working with you, and you're working on multiple projects at the same time. How do you relax? Do you take long vacations? Where do you go? And tell me more about like the parts of Romania that you spend time in.
Well, the organization of the work I do is basically, well, during the week, yeah, I work, but like a bit more than usual, like maybe 9 hours per day or something like that. But otherwise, it's quite normal, nothing special. And during the weekend, I stay with my children, like most of the time, because during the week, my wife is taking care of him. So we basically switch. In the weekend, I am in charge. During the week, she's in charge with him. Yeah, and I told you my boy is like 4 years old. So because of that, we can't travel too much, let's say. Also, COVID drastically limited the places we could get. So yeah, nowadays in the last years we stick to Romania, like skiing, mountainside, and seaside, Black Sea here in Romania. So that's it. I told you that the only exit outside Romania in past 2 years was Sorrent.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think in June we'll go summerside in Egypt. So it will be like finally a real trip holiday outside Romania.
To where?
To Egypt.
Wow.
Summerside, yeah, it's so nice there. We've been before. I want to return. Yeah.
When were you there?
In June, I think. In June we want to go.
Wow. What will you visit there? Just the sea?
Oh no! Also the pyramids, and I like history and so on. So also the sea, also the history there. Pyramids, Cairo, Valley of Kings, Tutankhamun,
wow,
Tomb, and so on. Yeah, it is amazing, and that's why it's quite nearby. It's like 2 hours trip by plane from Romania. So
it's like I'm trying to wrap my mind around that. That's wonderful.
It's affordable, let's say, in any kind of in terms of budget and time and so on.
You know, I just since you mentioned the pyramid, I'm just imagining we need to do it's not real. Pyramid's not really part of the Plone Foundation, but we should do some kind of photography and marketing advertising for the pyramid community.
Yeah, true.
I wonder why they hadn't thought of that yet. We'll have to ask Steve Piercy.
To make a sprint in Cairo, organize a sprint in Cairo.
Well, I really appreciate talking to you, Alec, and over the years we've got to know each other a little bit more, and I really enjoyed the time that we spent together, certainly in Bucharest, and the great things that you've done for the Plone community, and I hope we'll keep doing, to Plone 7, Plone 8. So thank you so much, and wish you the best of luck for you personally, but also Eau de Web. And I guess I also hope to see you in Namur.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
And hope to see you soon. Bye.